Hey guys, welcome back to another Midnight Ride. I watched Fall Guy last week. It hit Amazon Prime Video, so finally got a chance to watch it. Last year, I was really picky about what I went to see in the theaters, and I don't think that I had a bad experience with anything that I did go see. And I wish now that I had gone to see this one. I remember feeling at the end of Transformers 1, like, man, I wish I'd seen this in the theater. And I've got that same feeling now for The Fall Guy. I didn't know that it was based on an old TV show starring Lee Majors. I've seen him in a couple of movies since then, but he was really before my time. Uh, it's not really relevant, other than there's like a mid-credits scene where he and some other actress, who I assume was the female lead of that show, pops up at the end just for a quick cameo, like they tend to do in movies like this. But other than that, like it's an original idea, and it works really, really well. In fact, I would give this movie, without reservation, 5 stars. After watching it, probably my only complaint was that 2 hours felt a little bit long for this kind of story. But the more I chewed on it, the more I realized this whole movie is a love letter to the stunt workers in Hollywood. The main character is a stuntman who, at the beginning of the movie, he gets hurt doing a stunt for not Tom Cruise, we'll say. The character's name is Tom Ryder, and you just got to understand that he's the biggest superstar A-lister in the entire world, and Colt is the character's name. He's Tom's stunt double. But he gets hurt doing a stunt, and then we cut forward about a year and a half later, and his life is in a shambles. His girlfriend is split up with him. She was also working in film. She wasn't a director. I think she was a camera woman. And he's a valet in some crappy restaurant in Los Angeles. And he's kind of cut off from the people around him. Well, he gets a call from his old producer to fly down really, really quick to Australia and finish the stunt work for a movie that his ex-girlfriend, the former camera girl, is shooting down there. And he gets down there, and then all of a sudden he's tangled up in this kind of weird conspiracy as he's trying to get his life back together and figure out how to say to his girlfriend, like, why he pushed her away after he got hurt. And as he's trying to solve his like post-injury issues and his relationship issues, he also finds out that there's something more going on with the invitation, and that the title of The Fall Guy doesn't just refer to the fact that he's going to fall down for stunts in the movies. He's being set up for something. So I don't want to spoil it beyond that. The trailers did give away a lot, as pretty much all trailers tend to. But the story is very, very strong. The characters are fantastic. The cast was amazing. And as far as the movie being 2 hours long, well, if you're looking at it as any other kind of action movie, or especially as a romance, which there's a very strong romantic plot to this, then maybe 2 hours is a little bit of overkill. But because this is a love letter to the stunt workers, there needs to be plenty of time for the stunts and the action sequences and set pieces to breathe and to play out and to get more and more bombastic and cinematic and exciting. And so all of that is really important. It's about that, and then like the credits, when they roll and they show some of the behind the scenes work, and you see the stuntmen playing stuntmen. It's very meta. If you've ever watched a movie where the plot is about somebody making a movie, you can just imagine what the set of that movie looks like. Like there's the center stage, and then a camera crew and director behind that, and then another camera crew and another director behind that. This one goes 2 levels deeper because it's a movie with stuntmen about a movie with stuntmen making a movie. Like, there's just this Russian nesting doll of a movie going on here. I can only imagine how confusing a set like that has to be. I also thought it was hilarious that the movie they were making in this movie, it's 100% them making Dune. It's called Metal Storm, and it's way over the top. It's like Sci-Fi Channel in terms of some of its production and its story elements, but they're making basically Dune. And they end up having to replace the lead actor at the end. I won't spoil that. It's really funny about who they get to do it. But yeah, just just a tremendous film, and I really liked the fact that like they gave both of these lead actors like real character arcs to work through. Emily Blunt, I've said before, might be the best working actress right now. I watched her in Sicario and Oppenheimer last year, and those were two very heavily dramatic performances that required different uh, different emotions and different stuff to come to the surface, and she nailed it on that one. And this one, it was more of like the spurned lover, but also like the woman who is getting her dream job and wants to succeed at it. And there's a strong comedic undertone to that. She's got gumption. She's got gumption. She's got that thing that we like in female leads. And then obviously Ryan Gosling is just the Canadian Henry Cavill, and he's been doing his thing for 25 years at this point. Just absolute unit. He's always just jacked and shredded in whatever role he's doing. But I think an underrated quality of his craft is his ability to emote very subtly and do small movements with his face and just like capture emotions in a way that like you really got to watch it to get it. You can't just like have this movie on in the background and like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, he's not just reading a script. He is performing. He is an artist. And he and Emily Blunt have really, really great chemistry together in this one. And again, like he embodies that stunt worker spirit, that workmanship that they have to have. And a big part of his arc relies on the fact that like A, stuntmen by design don't get recognition, and B, they're in like this neat little corner of the industry where they're not allowed to complain and they are highly expendable. But what they do is so critical to selling the authenticity of a performance. And there have been advocates for years that there should be awards and recognition, especially at the Oscar level, for stunts. And I really hope that a movie like this can go a long way towards making that happen, especially because so many of them do end up getting injured for life and getting injured out of that line of work. And even, like we'll say, on the same level as professional athletes, like football players, they get injured out and like their career is over. And plenty of them have died doing it. I remember there was a big deal about a female stunt worker who died during the filming of Deadpool 2. And it's a shame that I can't remember her name, but there are people that die on movies all the time. But in addition to this movie just being great on its own, like hopefully it can push to give those crucial workers, those essential workers in this industry, the ones who really, really help to sell the reality of this fiction depiction, give them some credit for what they do. This was just an all-around extremely well-done movie. One final note that I want to emphasize. After I saw Twisters last summer, I felt, what was one of my complaints here, is it was like Hollywood doesn't do romance anymore. They'll either do like really gratuitous and off-putting sex or nothing at all. Like there's this massive chasm in between what they'll execute, and it seems like it's almost steered to push you away from like having love in a blockbuster. And this movie was set up to be a blockbuster. It really should have been. I guess I'm partly to blame for not going to see it in the theaters. But there wasn't just like love and affection between these characters, but there was a real good, pure romance. And it wasn't about like, hey, having a sex scene or anything. It was about like these two characters very deeply cared about each other. It wasn't a fling. It wasn't a one-night stand. They loved each other. Something came between them, and they fixed it. They figured it out. They weren't trying to discard each other. It was just they had this thing that they had to figure out, and they realized that they could figure it out together. And man, the stunts in this movie just epic. Oh, one other piece of casting. Two of them I wanted to highlight. Hannah Waddingham. She plays the producer of the movie. I've only ever seen her in one other thing I can think of. I saw like the first episode of Ted Lasso. I didn't get into Ted Lasso like everybody else did, but I remember her in that one. She's got a very dominant screen presence. Like whenever she's in a scene, it's like she's just very magnetic. You're like, well, whatever role she's playing, it's like, holy crap! Like she's she kind of commands you to look at her and realize that she's going to be a bit of a wrecking ball in whatever's going on. And then Winston Duke, I've seen him in two other things besides this. He was in Person of Interest back in the day, about 10 years back. He was a villain during one of the seasons there. He was playing an American. And then he was Manape in the Marvel movies. He was in the Wakanda stuff, so he was doing a vaguely African accent. And then in this one, I assume he was just doing his regular accent. I didn't know he was British, but he was playing the coordinator for the stunt teams. And so his character and Gosling's character were good friends, and they worked off of each other. And going back to the whole, like, this movie is a love letter thing, these were two guys, these were two characters that worked in movies and loved movies. And they were able to speak to each other in movie quotes and, like, very quickly understand what the other was saying. And Winston Duke's character, Dan, he would say things and Colt would be like, oh, what movie is that? And there was this great scene at the end where he's like, they shall not pass. And it was like, oh, perfect. Like, that is my bro right there. Just an awesome movie. Content warning, some language, one F-bomb. Colt flips the bird a whole bunch of times. Other than that, just overall fantastic. So if you got Prime Video or whatever other streaming service it might be on, definitely watch The Fall Guy. I'm going to grab a DVD of this one because I can see myself watching it over and over. Anyway, Midnight Ride concluded. It is freaking cold outside. Once more into the breach. Drive safe. See you out there.